What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. I'm glad Gary did a video about this because I know everyone is apathetic about Doctor Who, and who cares about that? But Ncuti Gatwa and his racist, I'm going to say something else, but racist shtick and the whole thing. Like, normally I'm actually like, I know I'm called the angry badger, but ironically, most of the time I'm just ill-tempered. I'm not actually angry. People think I'm angry. I'm just animated and stuff like that. But I was legit, actual, factual angry covering the Ncuti Gatwa comments about white mediocrity and people talk, oh, it's reverse racism. It's not reverse anything. It's just straight up racism. And I hope Gary makes the point. But before we get into it, could you imagine if David Tennant said black mediocrity? Like, just the double standard is insane. So let's see Gary's take on all of this.
Great news for anyone worried about the future of the planet. After a period of invisibility, Doctor Who is back.
For years, Doctor Who would materialise from his trusty TARDIS before doing battle with a host of adversaries.
And by the way, yes, I have been told that I could still get into Doctor Who to just stop it. Like, I think it was Peter Capaldi.
Including the Cybermen, the Master, and of course the Daleks. There's not much doubt that Doctor Who could still save the planet. But can he save the BBC on Saturday night?
It was a tribute to the success of Doctor Who, which was revived in 2005 and has won more MTAs than any other drama.
Doctor Who!
Go. Now, go find Vikings on other planets. The universe is full of testosterone. Trust me, it's unbearable.
How would I know the president? I mean, I wouldn't have even voted for him. He's orange.
Oh. Do as she says. Is the future going to be all girl? We can only hope.
Sexism isn't dead. What's happened?
No, sexism is very much alive and kicking. It
And they're keeping it alive. Jesus.
Doesn't come as that much of a shock to a lot of us, I have to say. But it is Doctor Who that has caused the controversy this time around.
I've had an upgrade. Hi.
What are you again?
I'm your niece's wife, sir.
Exactly.
Hi. I just came in to check everything was all right before we opened.
Who the hell is this?
I'm not here.
You're fired. Get out.
You're that bloke.
You're fired. Get out of here.
I'm a businessman and I know how to run things.
I've heard you're only running because you've hated Trump for decades.
Please don't mention that name.
The TDS is insane. It's really sad to see another franchise fall. Yeah. I'll say, this is the race baiting and gaslighting. They will never let it go away. They have to invent it. That's the point. It doesn't exist, so they have to invent it.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
Bro, you reek. You smell like you've been marinated in wet dog.
Really?
Respect. I'll go back and watch it with the full commercials. But for the audience.
Oh, Doctor Who. Every time I think I'm out, they keep pulling me back in. There needs to be a new mantra with modern entertainment. Things can always get worse. Now, if it wasn't enough of a hint for the BBC and now Disney with the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker era.
Yeah, I'm saying, if you thought anything was going to get better now that Disney has control,
which started out to record ratings that eventually fell off a cliff. Of course, it was a critical darling, but it was cancer for the fandom. The audience scores, including one that hit 0%, I'm not going to let that go, hit rock bottom, leading to the show almost getting canceled. Then there was a ray of hope. Original architect of the Doctor Who comeback, essentially the George Lucas of New Who, Russell T Davies, was coming back, and he was bringing fan favorite 10th Doctor David Tennant and Catherine Tate with him. And after 2 years of buildup and hype, it was immediately flushed down the toilet. And when the specials premiered, we saw fan favorite David Tennant as the 14th Doctor get corrected on his pronouns.
Yes, the meat.
Yeah, no, this is why I think it's true that Doctor Who fans might have had it worse than all of the franchises. Just for the fact of Russell T Davies coming back and getting David Tennant back, and then just the extra retconning and shitting on the whole franchise. It's rough.
I promise I can help him get home, and then you'll never see me again.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
I don't remember asking you a damn thing.
Get turned gay and get emasculated by fan favorite Donna and her daughter.
Yes, we know. We know everything. Thanks. And you know nothing. It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. You'd have understood.
Oh my God, the resentment, the smugness,
You've got all that power, but there is a way to get rid of it. Something a male-presenting Time Lord will never understand.
And in a shocking turn of events, what should have been a huge hit for the BBC and D+ turned into a massive disappointment and a fart in the wind. It probably didn't help that they didn't get rid of the show-destroying Timeless Children retcon, and they ended the specials with a bi-generation. And at that point, it was unsurprising that
out of the dick, they came out, they docked.
That Shooty Gatwa's first,
that the doctors docked.
Solo Christmas special was the second lowest of all time and the second lowest debut of a Doctor of all time since the former first Doctor, William Hartnell, in 1963.
I'm the Doctor.
No.
Remember when the first female Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, alienated the audience before the show even debuted by saying this? Very often, we're only seeing stories being told through the white male gaze. That's what Doctor Who always celebrated.
So let's see it through the white female gaze.
Well, Russell T Davies is going to do one better as he launches his Whoniverse.
Russell's vision was to come back not just to make Doctor Who the television show, but to actually develop the Whoniverse. He felt that there was a massive load of Doctor Who viewers who had not yet been exposed to Doctor Who.
Instead, it turned into a massive load of something else, huh? All right.
You could be someone who's not really even heard of it, or maybe you've heard of it and thought it wasn't for you.
You're an idiot.
Which he said was inspired by Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars.
Hey, look at all of his because he's such a not Doctor Who fan. Look at all of his figures behind him, and he's showing all his DVD. Oh, if you don't know, he was attacked by the Mary Sue. Is essentially a fake fan. It's like the cognitive dissonance.
All the wrong ways, because he's going to own the chuds and lose more money than you can possibly imagine. Because Shooty Gatwa and Russell T Davies have been on the interview circuit the last couple of days, and not that it's going to be that hard. They really want to make sure no one watches their show.
I'm just so not going to get this. I've spent like the last money in my bank account to get to this audition. I'm actually quite angry at this point, and started taking the mic and started twerking, and that booked me the job. So
very proud. Twerking got you the job.
Before we get started, let's not bury the lead. Doctor Who is dead, and it has been for a while, and whatever hopes people had were completely dashed with the 60th anniversary and the Christmas special. So I'll ask you, dear viewer, put your little Doctor Who showrunner hat on and consider this question. Knowing that your Disney partnership and comeback was not well received, would you A, still try to be as respectful as possible to the old fandom and any potential new fandom in that modern audience, or B, talk about how gay your show is and how much you're going to push the alphabet agenda on the brand new platform you're so proud to be a part of, Disney Plus, so you can specifically market it to small children. And if the old fans don't like it, they can touch grass, and you could possibly call them a racial slur out the door. If you chose B, my friends, you are a connoisseur of modern entertainment promotion.
The Double Down is now famous as, I think, like 95% of the time when met with failure, they double down, because to admit failure would be to admit that the ideology behind their decisions was wrong, and they can never, ever, ever do that. So we will get all the gay race swap characters to the end of time from Disney. And at this point, this is just Disney.
So a lot of this, not all, will be presented without comment because I don't need to. Hey, let's start with what got RIP Doctor Who trending just a few days ago, and this turns out to be the most harmless one. This is from one of multiple interviews and photo shoots with Shooty Gatwa, and quite frankly, this is the one he looks the most butch in. That's what I'm going to put into the universe. I need the Doctor to have a big, fierce dance routine like destroys a monster with twerking, or some death drops, and that's what will drop the monster, because twerking has worked out so well for D+ in the past. What made this extra?
It's also like when Like if I was gay, this would piss me off, right? Like it's the one attack vector, and this is a fucking stereotype right here. Like, okay, bro, so because you're gay, you have to put your thing down to here, and you have to talk about twerking. Like, you can't just be a normal dude that happens to like to fuck other dudes. You have to make it all weird and extra fucking zesty.
Extra hilarious was Billy Piper's baby daddy, Lawrence Fox, chiming in. Looking forward to seeing these viewing figures. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who.
And I'm sure we'll get to it. None of this is what actually made me upset. Go ahead. You twerk all day on your dead series. You'll see.
But it gets so much worse. And these are all from the quotes that Variety and Doctor Who were so proud of that they plastered them all over Twitter. But in all seriousness, we know a lot about this new Doctor Who, especially after watching the specials. It's going to be very gay, and it's going to have diversity and inclusion. Ncuti Gatwa on his historic casting in Doctor Who. The show is about regeneration, and the Doctor is an alien. Why would you only choose to be one sort of person? That's a really good point. I've never had an issue of what color the Doctor was, as long as he was a dude, and I don't give a shit what people do in their personal life. But I do have to point out that the last two Doctors have been gay. And according to showrunner Russell T Davies, his Doctors weren't exactly the straightest men in the past.
Here comes the retcon. That's when they come in like, well, you know, even though Tim Drake was with a woman for 20 years, he was always a little gay, don't you think? No.
You're talking about someone who has a lightness and a joy about him. That, to me, chimes with queer energy.
Because anyone, I mean, like, granted, it's in the name, and that's what but it's so stupid.
So you're saying that your 9th and 10th Doctor that completely rejected the advances from Captain Jack but fell in love with Rose had queer energy? Huh? Maybe it was just human energy. Or maybe you're just trying to desperately plant your flags on everything. You know, breathing and eating food is queer energy. This marginalized person who's sitting here pictured at the BAFTA Awards, who was invited to parties you and I will never be invited to, and the toast of the town of London is talking about how marginalized he is. Dude, I'm not saying life is fair, but this ain't the 60s. While the very marginalized Ncuti Gatwa was giving his interview with Attitude magazine, he said this. Ncuti talked of his battle.
Bro, okay. And I just want to say, could you imagine if anyone with lesser melanation in their skin said this shit? The extreme, they would never work again.
For acceptance, which is honestly a battle you have in here. There's so much white mediocrity that gets celebrated, and black people, we have to be absolutely flawless to get half of that anyway. So I'm slowly training myself out of that and being like, no shit, you deserve love for existing. Believe me, Doctor Who fans and Star Trek fans, Star Wars fans, Marvel fans, DC fans, and just fans would rejoice at mediocrity at this point. It couldn't get worse than that. Oh, it does.
Okay, so just to his first part right there, no offense, but that's a failure of your parents and your family around you and your friends, because you got raised with a victim mentality, and apparently you weren't taught to love yourself or respect yourself or whatever other. And that's also a great disrespect to basically every other black person of prominence. It's just, yeah, bro. Nah. That's the first one. Yes, the white mediocrity. Boy, we casually threw that one around, didn't we?
Because, as most of you know by now, a show about, say, a mysterious time-traveling madman in a box just can't be a show anymore. It has to be a platform for
the message.
According to Variety, Russell T Davies didn't set out to be revolutionary in casting the next Doctor.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
In a way, I agree with them, because in truth, he made the most compliant pick for the modern BBC and Disney. But then RTD follows it up with, these are exactly the type of barriers I like to break. So which one is it? I would like to remind people that this is the guy who created the show Queer as Folk for the BBC back in 1999.
No, there was no such thing as gay people or black people in movies until 2020. Or 2021 or 2016, whenever everyone lost their fucking mind. Yeah.
Boys are out tonight, huh?
Listen, I'm just saying that, and I may be going out on a limb here, but I don't think in the 21st century that anybody who is gay, because they are gay, has had any trouble getting a job in entertainment. RTD also says it's very hard for anyone to stop me from doing these things. He continues, you'd have to be a pretty brave executive to go there with me. Now, Variety has been spamming these quotes all over X Twitter, and they are gaslighting, and we will get to that. But there's one they left off, as it concerns Doctor Who as a delivery mechanism for the message. Now, watch how they frame this. Then there's the criticism that Doctor Who is a show that appeals to children, and that a queer actor playing the Doctor will reach more kids than ever with its new home on D+. Again, to state the obvious, no one cares what an adult pretender does in their private time as long as it's legal. But parents specifically might care what that actor is trying to tell them within the show.
And shout out to John F. Trent and I know a lot. I'm essentially just straight up the Christians, and that's fine. Shout out to my Christians. I understand it. This is, you think homosexuality is a sin, and in no way, shape, or form do you want your kids watching something where the main character is, I mean, maybe if he was just gay as like a fact of life, it would be fine. But the fact that he will openly be like a huge part, and him hitting the town and looking for boys to have super fun happy hour with, yeah, I get that might be, even for the most progressive of people, might not want their 6-year-olds watching that. But Shooty still wants your 6-year-old to be watching him twerking on monsters. So it's a little gaslighty, but it's also not so gaslighty.
Back to the article, which is a disturbing idea to homophobes. Davies sees the show's wider reach as an opportunity to open people's minds. I think if you're 6 years old, you don't care. Not at all, says the childless man. Well, the parents might care, and on the polar opposite end, Disney definitely cares. But nonetheless, as the world darkens, and I do think the world is darkening around queer rights, there is a joy and a celebration, and there's community.
As you've never been more free, as you've never been more popular, as you've never been more fucking celebrated.
Whether you're 12 years old and just beginning to work out who you are, 62 years old and you've never been who you are, or 61 years old like I am and beginning to worry about where we are in society. Well, the good news is no kids are watching this show, and coincidentally, 62 is the average age of the modern Doctor Who viewer. This is the point where I need to remind you, dear viewer, that we are indeed talking about the formerly fun and thrilling British institution, space and time traveling show, Doctor Who. And this is where we get to talk about gaslighting, because all of this is right out of the Ghostbusters 26.
Fan baiting. I'm sure he'll mention it, but Critical Drinker talks about it. Fan baiting. It's their number one tactic. They did it with Kenobi. Remember, where before anyone said anything, they were like, we told the Reva actress there'll be racisms.
Lucasfilm and the Rings of Power playbook. Fan baiting marketing. Get well ahead of something you absolutely know is going to suck, so you have a built-in excuse to shield yourself from criticism, all while getting the access.
Happening to Warhammer fans right now. Right now. Fan baiting them, gaslighting them, acting like their recent retcons of Custodes and adding females is, there's always been and then getting shill sites like Bella Souls and other ones to attack the feds. The exact same thing and playbook happening right now in real time.
Media to write as many articles as possible, turning it into some kind of cause. And I have to ask, when has this ever worked? And aside from all the flags of many colors they're planting on this series, the biggest one they're raising is red, because nothing says our show is a total dumpster fire than let's attack the fans before it comes out. Shooty Gatwa says in Variety, I feel like anyone who has
let's attack the fans before it comes out, exactly like they did with Reva and Kenobi.
A problem with someone who's not a straight white man playing this character, you're not really truly a fan of the show. To state the obvious again,
if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I don't. You see, it's the same logic.
And that always has been and always will be a bullshit argument. What led to the fans fleeing in droves and the ultimate death of this show is the BBC and the showrunners crapping on Doctor Who's legacy.
I've had an upgrade. Hi.
This brings us to the possible racial slur from Shooty Gatwa that
it's not possible. He did. Gammon.
Completely missed because I'm American. I asked my British friends. They didn't think much of it, and neither did I until I saw Deadline feel the need to explain it. Gatwa said that we've got to keep pushing for more. Lots and lots and lots and lots more diversity, lots more inclusion on our screen, lots and lots and lots of it for all you male gammons out there.
Listen. In UK slang, the term gammon refers to the color of a person's flushed face when expressing their strong opinions, as compared to the type of pork of the same name.
It's white dude with red faces.
Well, I certainly wouldn't take it as a compliment, but he's not done. Gatwa's message to the naysayers is simple. Don't watch. Turn off the TV.
Naysayers? He said it with the hard R.
Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake. And I think I can safely speak for most of the audience by saying your terms are acceptable.
Nerdrotic.com.
Shout out to Nerdrotic. Shout out to Nerdrotic. Yeah. No one is watching Doctor Who. I just wanted to cover this because of those racisms, and I'm tired of that double standard. That needs to be shunned, and shun the non-believer, Charlie. That needs to be just not accepted in our society anymore. The actual racism is the ones that they keep perpetuating. And yes, anyone that's uttered the line, you can't be racist to white people, congratulations, you have just been racist to white people. Let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And oof.
Well, bye.